Hello and welcome to the Pluto workshop. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Pluto is currently in Aquarius and it will be here for the next almost 20 years. Okay, so this is quite profound as representing the era of our lives that we are existing in, representing essentially the zeitgeist that we as beings alive now on the planet are experiencing. So if we think about from 2024, 25 through 2045. This is a huge influence. And so, what we need to understand is that this also is representing the long talked about age of Aquarius, the dawning of the age of Aquarius. And there's a lot of information about that around when exactly we entered the actual age of Aquarius. And it's not entirely known, but we know that we are on the threshold of the age of Aquarius. Why? Because we can see it. We can see it happening. And so Pluto moving into Aquarius and really enlivening that archetype in all of us, really triggering it, really activating it in the psyches of humanity and us having arrived to a place where we are ready, where we are feeling this, where we have evolved to a point in our own consciousness where this is where we have arrived. We can see it. So Aquarius is so much the revolutionary. It's all about independent individualization, unique expression. In that when we can all have the space to be unique, we create a tribe, we create a group experience, we essentially create a humanity that can live in that way, where we honor and respect each other's unique individual genius. So that has not been really the code of our humanity. It has more been about a very Capricorn quality of get in line, meet a certain standard, do what's expected. And so we have been in a very revolutionary time, particularly since 2020, when the Saturn Pluto conjunction that really amplified the disruption of the systems. And we have been witnessing, experiencing, and living through this breaking down of old paradigms and old structures. And so we are in the age, we are in the stage of evolutionary growth right now, where we're seeing a lot of instituting the new paradigms, new way of thinking, and just the crumbling, the falling away of so much. It's really amazing to witness, and we can see so much changing, especially because of the age of information, which also Pluto in Aquarius really powerfully represents that. Aquarius is an archetype that is about technology and advancement and future and the higher mind. And so we can see Pluto coming into Aquarius is also amplifying this technology age that we're in, and it's only going to increase. We can see that Uranus has also entered Gemini this year, which will be for 7 years. Gemini is also about technology and the mind. It's a very fast energy. So we can see that information is speeding up. We are all in that where our expectancy has now developed into its sort of normal to expect things faster, information, how we get things, all of this. And like, we are so exposed to so much information at this point. And so we can see how, because of that, also, it is speeding up this, how much we are becoming aware of is speeding up how quickly we are moving through things, releasing things, letting things go. Paradigms are shifting. It's really powerful. So this Pluto in Aquarius is going to be somewhere in your chart, and that's what we're going to go through in this workshop. So to begin, Pluto has stepped into the first degrees of Aquarius, and it literally Pluto moves very, very slowly. It's the furthest planet, one of them out that we know, the furthest away, right, from our Earth and Sun. And it only covers about 4 degrees of a 30-degree area. We chart the signs, we separate them into 30 degrees, and it covers about 4 each year. So we can see it's moving slowly. So if you have, wherever you have it in your birth chart, it's going to incrementally, gradually be stepping through, contacting any planets on its path and staying in whatever house that is in. And so this is going to have a powerful effect for all of us, depending on what planets in our own chart, in our own psyche, are being activated, and what house, what arena of life is this really playing out for you. So this is not a slow passing transit. It's a very long journey of transformation in this Aquarius realm. And yeah, it's going to touch us all in different and unique ways, but there is a group theme. There is a theme that we are all in this together. And that is really what Aquarius is about. It is this unity in individuality. It's so powerful. It is the revolutionary energy. It is about a revolution. It is about the rebellion towards a lack of authenticity and a lack of being allowed to be in our unique genius and creative expression in exactly the way that we want to as an individual. So Pluto itself is a force of death and rebirth. So wherever it moves, false structures collapse, illusions are stripped away. It's like the soul's demand for authenticity rises. That's the journey. So wherever your Pluto is in your chart, it is the symbol in evolutionary astrology of your core soul intention, that which you are so deeply familiar, committed to, and oriented towards. Pluto is the power of our soul, how we're all emanating this certain type of influence and expression, and how we focus in certain particular areas of our own desire, and what is familiar, what is known, where our power is really at. So wherever our Pluto is extremely powerful in our chart. And then we have the Pluto polarity point, which is the source, the pathway of our evolutionary growth and highest intention of potential in this lifetime. So you want to be able to look at that. This is exactly what I teach in my spaces, in my school, in my membership, the Pluto formula, and how to really see Pluto and the polarity point, the north and south node of the moon, and how to orient this in your chart, and the fact that your entire chart is supporting your very specific core soul orientation in this lifetime. And when you know that, well, there's freedom in that, there is information in that, and there is guidance, and that is what is so incredible about the birth chart as a tool, right? So Pluto demands that we let go, demands that you let go of what you're deeply holding on to and allow change. So its presence insists on transformation, whether or not you are ready, right? So, but Pluto also represents that which we are so deeply accustomed to, who we are and what we are holding on to. So it does represent the deep bonds, the deep attachments, our deepest connections that we are committed to, that we want to hold on to. But then there is growth, right? So it's not bad, our attachments, what we hold on to. It just is. It's us. We are creatures of bonds, and that's what gives us so much power, right? To be committed and in the game. But there comes a time when it's time to move on, and it's just time for change. And we must step into the unknown, and we must evolve, and we must let go, and we must re-identify and reattach and recommit to other things, to keep on evolving, to growing, to becoming more and more, right? And so for the next 20 years, Pluto will travel through Aquarius in the early degrees right now. So we're meeting the first taste of its medicine right now, all of us. We're in the dawning. The initiations have begun. And so this also represents a long spoken age of Aquarius. Okay, so we can feel it. We are walking it. We are the ones. So I'm going to walk us through Pluto through each one of the houses, so we can feel the evolutionary intention of Pluto in Aquarius through each one of the houses. So you want to be able to locate where are the first degrees of Aquarius in your birth chart. They're going to be in one house. And Aquarius, the totality of the 30 degrees of Aquarius might move at some point into the next house. And so that means Pluto is influencing the house that the degrees are in, and the house that the cusp of the next house, whatever degree of Aquarius it's on. So if you don't understand what I'm saying, you can drop a question in the chat below this video. You can come into the community and ask questions. So identify where Pluto, the first degrees of Aquarius, are in your chart, and then you'll know that that is where Pluto is transiting, what house Pluto is transiting in your chart. Okay. So let's take it through the houses. Here we go. So Pluto in the first house. Okay. So here the soul's intention is about radical self rebirth. It's the house of who am I? What do I want? What do I want to experience? I need freedom to experience this question of who am I? It's a fire house. It's a cardinal initiation house. I need to go. I need to get. I need to have. I need to be an experience. So your very identity, the way you move in the world, will be transformed. Okay, it's about masks falling away. The identity, the who am I? Who am I? Who am I now? Who am I now? Who am I now? That's the question, right? False selves, dying, right? Pluto is death and rebirth. It's the Lord of the underworld. It takes us in to the depths of our psyche and soul, our past, our history, our orientation, our attachments, and it asks us to surrender. And of course, not entirely. We take forth what we have gained. We take forth our abilities, our what we've developed, our strengths and our talents. It doesn't go away, right? But we do have to move in to more, right? So over this decade or two, it's really being stripped bare. So your authentic presence can radiate, this continual asking, who am I? And letting it go. So the old way of being acceptable, opposite the seventh house, other people are always there to witness, to have an opinion, to experience, to be affected by us. So there's always this who am I, who are you orientation going on. So you're becoming a living embodiment of your pure truth. Okay, so the death release, it's the old self-image is what the death release process is about. So roles you've played to belong, false identities, masks, and ways that you've tried to be acceptable. This is what is the death rebirth process that is falling away. And the empowerment and rebirth side of this Pluto transit is all about a radical Aquarius, radical transformational rebirth of identity, the who am I house. You become the living embodiment of your authentic frequency. You're getting in touch deeper and deeper with your sovereignty, your desires through having the experience of that which you are and that which you are not. So it's a presence that, which you're cultivating, is a presence that liberates others simply by being yourself. All right. So Pluto in the second house. Let's move on. So this is, and understand that the houses go out, in, or externalized yang energy to an internalized yin, feminine, masculine, feminine, externalized, internalized, external, internal. So from the first house is Mars energy, this outward active energy. We move into the second house, very internalized, feminine, yin house. So here the soul reshapes your relationship to worth, your worth, value, resources, money, attachments to security through possessions and finances, what you value. This is what's being stripped down. This is what's being released. This is what's released. This is what's being changed. Okay. You're being asked to reclaim inner worth that cannot be taken from you. That is the thing. When we are centered in ourself, when we know ourself, our values, yes, our values can change, our truth can change, but there are certain things about us that we just are. We are someone who is centered in love. We are someone who moves with integrity. We are someone who does no harm. These kind of things that cannot be taken, our worth, our value. So this is what is being worked through. The growth intention is self-sufficiency rooted in soul, not in material accumulation. However, it is a time to get really clear with your abundance. Like, we live on a physical planet. We are meant to physically have the money, experience the money, the things, the stuff, the abundance. Okay, so it's about getting right with that. How is your relationship to money, possessions, and the material world? Because it is meant to be good. It is meant to be positive. It is meant to be healthy. You are meant to experience all the resources of life to help sustain yourself and support you. So this decade teaches you that true wealth is freedom. True wealth is from within. Our resources are within. And when we know that, when we cultivate that, when we feel worthy and resourced from within, then that can become represented without. We can allow ourselves to experience the wealth all around, right? So the release process that's happening can have to do with dependencies on money or material possessions or external approval as proof of worth, these kind of things. It's really about a liberation from false constructs of worthiness connected to physical possessions and money. And so the empowerment and rebirth that's coming from this is like, it has to do with the reclamation of inner value, freedom, and how you resource yourself, right? True worth rooted in soul, just unshakable sovereignty. You know your worth. Okay. So now Pluto in the third house, more externalized energy going out. So here Pluto, it's about the transformation of mind and your voice and your perspectives and your opinions and your thoughts and your truths. So it's like old thought patterns, ways of communicating. Even relationships with siblings or community may be the breakdown territories. Like, the soul's intention is to free your mind from conditioning so your voice can carry the vibration of truth. This decade is so much about becoming a messenger of awakening to what is your real truth, your real message. And so the death and the release and the liberation is coming from limiting beliefs, superficial words, thoughts, thought looping inherited from family or culture. And the empowerment, the voice that's coming is like that liberated voice, your true voice. Communication as medicine, words that awaken, thoughts that expand, right? So Okay, so now Pluto in Aquarius moving through the fourth house. Here, there is this evolutionary growth focuses on the home, the family, the roots, who you personally are in the real heart and soul of your emotional body. So, generational patterns can surface for healing, family ties transform and dissolve, your mother wound, your father connection, these kind of things, your mother relationship. Of course, not everybody has a mother wound, but these kind of things come up. So, the soul's intention is liberation from ancestral conditioning and accessing your true empowerment from where you came from the roots of you came from how you are, essentially how we can re-narrate the story to understand that life is happening for us. And however you are raised, there is deep purpose and meaning and power to be gained from that journey. And so over this decade, you are learning what home really means, what safety really means, what you really desire, what you really need, what you really feel in your heart, and how to honor that, how to give yourself the levels of self-care, and essentially truly parenting yourself on a really high level so that you understand what truly being cared for means by yourself, cared for by yourself. So it's about sanctuary, building alignment with your truth and creating a true sanctuary that you can exist within. And so the death release is about family entanglements, generational patterns, silence or control patterns, like false definitions of safety and security in home. And the empowerment rebirth comes directly through the healing of the roots, the soul aligned sanctuary space that you create as a state of being, and the power to end cycles and create true belonging and true um, a state of a sense of security in your emotional body, true security from within. So Pluto in the fifth house. So here, Pluto, it's all about transformation on the levels of creativity and self-actualization. So we know creativity and self-actualization can also be bring up the realms of romance and sexuality, and also children, all things that like this creative muse-like place that we go to. So old ways of performing for love or validation is coming to the forefront. These are the kind of things that are being stripped away. The soul demands authentic self-actualization through your creative process, through being the creative being that you are. This is fifth house journey. So if you have a lot of fifth house in your chart or anything like this, it's like, you know, this realm, your true joy, your true art, your true love is what is meant to be led and lived for the fifth house journey. So this decade totally asks, like, will you play small, or will you risk like shining, getting bigger in your full creative light? Right? That's the question for everyone. Like, shine the divine light. So the death release, it is so much around like performing for love, needing to be witnessed, needing to be experienced, but also balancing this out with the fact that we all deserve to be, we deserve attention, we deserve to be noticed, we deserve to be witnessed, right? So balancing out that any distortions in the neediness realm of those spaces. So creative suppression is what is being the death rebirth process, and relationships rooted in ego or fear are really being challenged at this time to be uprooted and cleared out. And the empowerment rebirth journey has so much to do with sovereignty and joy, creative radiance, love, art, truth, not validation, just expression. Right? The beauty of pure expression is this fifth house journey. All right, moving on to the sixth house is powerful Virgo house. Incredible amounts of devotion and dedication come into this realm. So that is where you are entering. Pluto reshapes the work realms. Like, this is the house of your great work, your skills, your service to the world, and also the physical body, what you're manifesting through the body, spirit through body reality. So old habits and routines, even jobs just collapsing, coming into a new sense of self-worth and your true and highest service to this planet and to yourself. So health focuses can really come up at this time. How you're using your body, how you're using your mind, your nervous system, your emotional body. It's really about truly getting well and balanced with yourself on all levels. So deeper soul balance. And the evolutionary intention, it's really around purification. So people are going to experience what purification is on a lot of different levels, but where you're being devotional, where you're being committed, and what are the results of that. So that's what sixth house journey really looks at, and aligning daily life with soul truth, because what our routines are is what our life becomes. So what we do over and over, hour to hour, day to day, is what we're experiencing, right? And so we want to get really clear with what our routines are. And so over this decade, you learn that service is essentially sacred. You maybe already know this, maybe you're already living your life this way, but when it flows from authenticity and not obligation, and that is what is a big lesson of this time. And so the release component that's going on here is around habits, martyrdom, habits that enslave, like work as duty without meaning, like health patterns that mask deeper truths, like really getting clear with wellness, as I said. And so the empowerment rebirth journey has so much to do with like purification of body and life, habits that empower and align with your soul, and yet truly manifesting your skills, that your abilities. This is what this time is about. All right, moving into the 7th house. This is the Libra house, Venus ruled. So here, Pluto is transforming relationships. This is a really powerful territory. Pluto crosses over the descendant and highly starts affecting how you feel, how you're relating to yourself and how you're relating to others. And that is the rebirth territory. So there's a lot of change during this time. I went through Pluto crossing my descendant about 10 years ago now. And like, yeah, it was incredibly transformational. The power and the depth I was going through in relationship journeys was so incredible, and just rebirthing constantly and facing myself on so much purging and having to release false identities that I was, carrying about who I was and the types of relationships that I was attracting into my life. So Pluto in the 7th house, partnerships, definitely on the forefront. So partnerships can end, really powerful partnerships can come in. It's a rebirth to relationships in general. So if you're in a committed relationship, that's going to take on a whole nother dynamic and up level into something much more deeper and much more true. So power dynamics rise to the surface entirely. And the soul's intention is liberation from codependency and from false judgment upon oneself, like taking on projection or projecting onto others, like a false sense of self, gets really cleared away at this time. And so that relationships can become vessels of truth and real freedom. And so over this decade, you'll learn to stand sovereign as a sovereign being, meeting others from wholeness, right? So that's what happens in the relationship realms. And the death release has so much to do with codependency, power struggles, partnerships built on fear or compromise or unhealthy need. A need is a great thing. We need each other. That's how we are as humans. But to really get clear with how that dynamic is working itself through. And so empowerment, rebirth, what's happening in that realm is so much to do with relationships as liberation, intimacy between equals, love that honors sovereignty, love that is open-minded to perspective, to understanding, to compassion about our differences. The diversity of being is real, and we learn from that which we are not. And we grow and we evolve. These are huge 7th house Libra lessons. All right, so Pluto now in the 8th house, its natural house, its ruling house, the Scorpio house. So here the soul calls you into deep shadow work, but on the level of meeting with your depth and power on the highest levels freaking possible. It's incredible. It's about deep intimacy with self, deep truth, deep revelation of what is real, what is being held onto, what is being called in. It is a real sort of reckoning with truth on a powerful soul level. So that's going to mean different things to everybody, right? But it's issues around power, sexuality, trust, loss, betrayal, abandonment, how you have related to these things throughout your life and where you are now in relationship to them, because we can project all kinds of trust issues and abandonment issues and loss issues into a reality that isn't actually about those things, right? So we bring our past in and we have to deal with how we relate to things. And the 8th house Scorpio realms really purge us of false identification. So old attachments, secrets, entanglements, basically burned away. The evolutionary intention is empowerment through surrender to face the depths. We could say shadow, but it's really about the depths, because it doesn't have to be this like intense staying in the deep realms. It's going into the depths, getting the treasure, transmuting the lead to gold, and soaring like the phoenix into true empowerment. It is the phoenix rising journey. So yes, we go in, we face our insecurities, we face our limitations, and we claim our power back, and we take it and we rise like the phoenix. This is that journey. So over this decade, you are transformed into the deepest places, becoming the medicine for yourself. and for others, essentially. So this death release process is around fear of loss, toxic connections and entanglements, powerlessness, and the empowerment, the rebirth. The other side is empowerment through surrender. Sexual and emotional rebirth can be powerfully there too. Your own Kundalini power and creative essence is really being activated at this time. And medicine born from this deep, deep work is what is coming through. I have Pluto going through my 8th house right now. It's going to be a wild ride. So, moving on to Pluto in the 9th house, here, Pluto totally reshapes your beliefs, your worldview, your relationship to truth. The 9th house follows the 8th house, where 8th house, we go into the depths and the underworld. And the 9th house is the light at the end of the tunnel, that liberation into there's the light. I rise. Now the phoenix rises into the light. And that's what the 9th house represents. So if you're entering this realm, this is powerful expansion. Like there is no limit. Like the sky is not even the limit for the expansion, the expansive journey that you are now on and have entered. It is a really phenomenal design of your soul timeline. So, yeah, let's see. So 9th house, it's like old truths, old beliefs, old faith. It's just like a total rebirthing of your faith, of your truth, of your orientation, of how you're expanding. It's really opening the mind. It's like open-mindedness, like on steroids, is coming in at this time, but also like up against the resistance of what you are so totally holding on to in your truth system. So that is like the rub. That's the edge of like, you're being asked to expand into more, and you may be holding tight to what is because of the threat of security or identity or sense of self, right? That's always there that we confront. And so, yeah, it's like the soul's intention is to free you from, I don't know, like borrowed truths. We do that. And so it's like you can live your own philosophy, you can live your own truth. And this decade is about becoming a seeker whose um, life is the faith. Life is the truth it represents. So it's like a lived truth, not inherited like dogmas that we are so bombarded with in this day and age, right? So the death release process has to do with the dogmas, with releasing what we don't. You don't have to believe all these things that are out there. We just don't have to believe, right? So it's like there's a lot of borrowed and outdated philosophies and paradigms. And so we're moving beyond that, and you particularly if you have this 9th house. So there's faith that is inherited but not lived, right? So that is what is like dying away too. You're coming into ultimate truth. So the empowerment and rebirth angle has so much to do with freedom of belief, truth lived as path, teaching through embodied example of what is real and embodied in yourself, not just in the mind, like I said, the borrowed idea, right? So this is powerful expansion, and a lot of mind and truth work here. Pluto in the 10th house now, moving into the Capricorn Saturn arena. This is really powerful. A lot of what you're doing in the world, your career, this is how we have to how we represent on the world. Like we all have a position, a role. We go out into the world, and how do we show up? How do we lead ourselves? Are we capable of leading ourselves? Are we capable of leading others? This is part of the journey that we're all on. And so here Pluto deeply transforms your work and your career and your authenticity, and it's really about coming into greater and greater levels of your own personal authority, being a true agency of yourself, being a truly in your sovereignty, and being a representative of that people can look up to. And that is part of the purge that is going on, your how you represent and show up in a role in the world. So careers collapsing, rebirthing, renewing, public identity. It's like the soul, Pluto demands that your outer path reflects your inner truth, 10th house, 4th house axis. So this decade powerfully asks you, will you climb the old mountain, Saturn, of false success, or will you walk the path of authentic purpose? Will you climb the mountain? Will you climb? Will you devote? Will you dedicate? Will you put in the effort? Will you lead yourself to the heights that you are meant to go to? Will you do that? Because no one can do it for us. So the death release has to do with, like false living, false careers, false recognition, false authority, false authenticity, like title recognition driven roles, like needing to meet certain status, needing to have a certain type of thing for outward recognition, but not in authenticity to your true heart and soul. So this is the kind of stuff that is being released with the 10th house Saturn Capricorn influences. So success defined by others. And the empowerment rebirth has so much to do with actually true work, true vocation, true role in society, like leadership rooted in soul and in personal power and in pure emotion of what you truly love and desire. And so power in the world through authenticity and service. That's really the angle that's going on right here. This is really powerful. It's the midheaven. It's if this is your soul design, if this is your destiny, then you are destined for heights of incredible power. And depending on where you are, that might be the actual challenge and the actual struggle, and it can feel very difficult. But just know that that's the work you're doing. That's the grind. That's where you're really trying to face your fears around your own success. It is a very powerful transit. So again, I just want to invite you to, if anyone has any questions, you want to go deeper into any of this, of course, be in touch, but leave your comments, leave, you can leave questions at the bottom in the chat boxes, and I will absolutely respond back to you. And there's a whole group of people in here that would love to get involved with the conversation too. And yeah, we can all share this journey and learn together. That's what it's for. That's what we're here for. So where are we? 11th house, Pluto in the 11th house. So 11th house is the natural Aquarius house, the Uranus house, the revolutionary, the revolution, the rebellion, the individualization, the liberation, the breaking free from, the total self-expression, the moving into your highest, like the liberation of expression, to be who you are, to express who you are, to feel confident in that space. It's like so powerful, the 11th house Aquarius archetype. And so here, Pluto is like reshaping you on the level of community, friendships, your actual role in the collective through your individualization process, how you're uniquely showing up as an individual, and where your levels of confidence and freedom in that realm is. How we show up, how we express is going to really have a lot to do with the types of people that we're attracting in, or the groups that we're in, or what our world is looking like on that level. So it's like groups that no longer align are certainly falling away, friendships, like the like-minded people. So it's like really a time of a lot of shifting into a new place, a new group, a new way of being, there's a lot of shifting with 11th house. So the soul's intention is for you to claim authenticity, like your authentic place in the larger web of life, like not as a follower, not as an outcast, but as a unique contributor, your unique contribution. We all have these amazing, valuable, unique contributions. And so when we are brave enough, when we can slay the shame enough to come forward and really express who we truly authentically are, then we create a world where there is actual true union, because people can feel us for who we truly are. They can feel us in our authenticity, and we get to feel ourselves in our true expression, right? So this is the world we want to live in. So it's like, this decade teaches you that freedom comes through finding your true self, and then your tribe, and serving the greater whole, the greater good, and the death, the release coming through false belonging. Communities that drain you, following group thinking to avoid rejection, not showing up in your truest expression. And the empowerment and the rebirth comes through soul tribe, authentic contribution, freedom through collective alignment, and truly connecting to your higher self, your higher expression and power, which connects you to the whole in such a greater way, which connects you to others in such a greater way, which connects you to yourself in such a greater way. So it's a really profound, and this leads us into the 12th house, the next journey, which is a continuation from all this that I just spoke about in the 11th. So the Pluto in the 12th house is so powerful. It is the last house of the zodiac. It is the completion before the beginning of the first house. So if you have Pluto going through the 12th house, you are in an incredible time. It is deeply creative. It is the infinite realms, the God realms, to be in the God zone, to really eliminate the illusions and the false identities again, but in a way that you're not living in escapism and avoidance and denial, but really highly activating faith and belief in the dream and the unseen, that yes, it's not here yet, it's not reality yet, but it's possible, it's coming, I am in the creation of, I can do this, right? The 12th house Pisces is the ultimate realm of faith. And so here Pluto dissolves like it's such a deep house. The unconscious, the old patterns, the addictions, the illusions are stripped bare. We are called to surrender, to allow, to receive on huge levels, right? In when we surrender, we allow ourselves to receive beyond what we thought was capable. So that's a journey for all of us in Neptune, Pisces, 12th house, to learn how to surrender, let go, and to learn how to receive, because there's so much coming towards us, for us, as far as our dreams, miracles, opportunities that sometimes we block out, we resist. So the evolutionary intention is surrender and to receive, to be receptive. And it has a lot to do with to release what is false so that you can merge, like denials and avoidances and what we, escapism, particularly. And so you can merge with the greater mystery of yourself and the source. And so over this decade, the soul initiates you into spiritual truth, teaching that the deepest power is found in letting go, in receiving and surrendering. And so there is the death release component is in escapism, addictions, illusions, that are binding your soul to a false reality, right? So old karmic residues can come up to be cleared. And the empowerment rebirth aspect is spiritual merging, deep spiritual merging, compassion, surrender as strength, soul radiance born of letting go. Okay, there's so much here, and tapping into your deep creative potential, infinite creative potential. This is what is available for the 12th house journey. So yes, that was it. And I kept this to less than 45 minutes. Yay. So yeah, I'll just close with, the Pluto in Aquarius, like it's not going to be hurried. It's taking its time for the next 20 years. So it's going to be with us for a while and working through the houses in our chart, working through this one particular house and whatever aspects it's making to other aspects of your psyche through the planets in your chart. And so it's like your soul has chosen this particular death rebirth process for you purposefully, for your evolution, for your highest intention, and for you to harness your power on the most positive and incredible levels for you to rise. This is about rising like the phoenix in your life in this particular area that it is in. So it's like the false will fall and the true will rise. And in the long arc of this initiation, you will be transformed into a freer, more authentic expression of who you really are. And that is amazing. And I'm so happy for you, all of us, and stay in touch. Leave questions, ask your comments, let me know where you are in your journey. And yeah, I'd like to keep in touch. So be well, take care.